Okay. Good morning, everyone.
Yes, good morning.
Today we'll be looking at CSS Framework. If you are new to web development or programming as a whole, you probably might not hear of CSS Framework, or you might have heard of CSS Framework. So we'll see what that means. Its framework allows you to use predefined classes, meaning all you need to do is include the framework in your project and specify the HTML class for the elements you want to style. It's really easy to use and save a lot of time coding. So the time you are using to style your CSS or your HTML page, you can just call the class and then everything is fine. Then why do we use CSS framework? So what are some of the advantages? Can't we just go ahead and do a normal styling and coding with our style? So why do we use, or why do we have to learn any CSS framework? Most importantly, for consistency and uniformity. So like I said earlier, we already have a predefined classes in CSS frameworks. So if you want to use a class, no matter where you are, you will have to use the same class. This consistency and uniformity help the developers understand the code and save a lot of time, and also give room for quick delivery. So it gives room for quick delivery. That time you spend in in styling your CSS, you can just call a class and then you move on. Then it also has a layout which is responsive. So you don't have to spend your time doing a media query or using your styling your grid or flex to make it responsive. CSS framework actually makes your website responsive if you know how to use it. Okay, so in this training, we'll be using Bootstrap framework. Bootstrap is the most popular and widely used framework in CSS, and it has many versions. So for this training, we'll be using version 5, which has more features, and it really has a nice look compared to the older version of Bootstrap. And unlike the older version, there is no jQuery attached to it. So it has a lighter file size, and you can use Bootstrap icons as SVG instead of font also. So it has a great advantage. Bootstrap 5 has great advantage over the older version of Bootstrap. First, it makes your folder lighter because there's no jQuery in it. And then you don't have to install Font Awesome or link Font Awesome to your web page. So what you just do, you either download or use the CDN of Bootstrap, and then the Bootstrap JavaScript, then everything is fine. And then for the icons, it also will be working on. All right, so this is a page I did with Bootstrap, and it's fully responsive. If then on this icon that looks like a phone icon, just then you scroll, you see it's responsive. It looks nice even on the smaller screen. Then you can check sizes. You also have a nice view. So it's really cool and nice to use Bootstrap. So this is what we'll be building. Then for this, sorry, let me go back to desktop view. Okay, so for this header, for this nav, we'll be using nav header. Then, sorry, we'll be using Bootstrap nav. Then for the spacing at the end of each of these side, the front, the right and the left page, we'll be using Bootstrap container to achieve that. So then we also have grid view. So Bootstrap has grid view. Instead of using your flex to achieve that, you can use Bootstrap Grid, the row and the columns in Bootstrap, which is this section you are seeing here, and this other section. So we'll do more on this and then look at the documentation and see how we can get this done. So let's look at Bootstrap documentation. So what you do, you go to getbootstrap.com. When you go to getbootstrap.com, it will take you to the latest version of Bootstrap, which is version 5. You can see here. So currently version 5.1.1. So that is the latest version, and that is what we'll be using here. Then you can click on Get Started. When you click on Get Started, you see it takes you to a documentation where you see how to install Bootstrap and use. So one of the ways we can use Bootstrap in our code is by using the CDN. That is the online link. You could just copy the online link and then put it on your HTML page, the head part of your HTML page. We'll see how that is done too. So that is the CSS link. Then you can also use JavaScript in case you want to do any action like a modal or a toggle or anything or such. Then you can attach the JavaScript link to it. Okay, so that is for the CDN. Another way you can use Bootstrap is by downloading the compiled file. So we have two of these compiled files. We have the compiled CSS and JavaScript. So when you download this one just gives you the compiled CSS. Then if you download that, the compiled CSS has the CSS classes and all that in them. Then for the source files with the CSS classes, you have a SAS file downloaded into it too. So some of us that understand and knows how to use SAS, they can use this, and then you can customize Bootstrap variable using this compiled, the source files rather. So when you download the source file, you can actually change some of the variables. Some of the variables they have, like changing colors of a button and things like that. But for now, we are going to download the compiled file, the CSS and the JavaScript compiled file for Bootstrap. Okay. Another thing is that you can use the npm package managers to install it. So some of us that will be doing Vue or React, when you want to install Bootstrap, mostly what you use is the npm to install it, or any other package managers to install it. And this is one of the way you can do that. So you can always refer back to this documentation anytime you want to use Bootstrap, either the classes or any of the things. Either the classes or how to install it. Then we have layouts. This layout contains the containers which I mentioned earlier. That section that gave you the padding, the spacing at the edge. So the container has that. Then we have the grid, which gives you the view, that is the row and the columns. And we'll talk more about rows when we are doing the practical aspects of it. Then we have contents, we have forms, we have already defined forms which you can use in your work, your page. So like this one now, you just have to copy the code. So when you copy the code, okay, sorry. When you copy this code, everything works fine for you. Just click on this and then put it on your HTML page. Okay, so we have forms, we have layout that is still for the form. Okay. Then we also have components like the accordion. Let me click on one of these components. Okay, so like the accordion here, this is mostly used for FAQ page. So you just get the code and then you move on. So that is just as easy as that, and it's very nice to use. Then we have breadcrumbs. So when we get to this, we'll see how to use all these features in Bootstrap. And we also have the nav bars and the nav tabs in Bootstrap. Okay. So most of what we'll be doing will be referring back to this documentation. So I'll try as much as possible to always refer back to this documentation so you see how to use them. Okay. So let's go back to installing and using Bootstrap. Okay, so I'll click on Get Started, then go to Download. Sorry, I hope I'm not too fast. Can you hear me? Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay, I hope I'm not too fast. If you have any question, you can just raise your hand and then I'll point you to ask your question. Okay. All right, so let's look at the download file. So the one we're going to use here for this training is the compiled CSS, as I earlier said. So what you basically do is just click on the download button here. Okay. And then wait for it to finish downloading. When it's done downloading, you can show in folder and then extract, since it's a zip file. So you can let me just extract it here. Okay. Okay, so I've extracted that. Then in my VS Code, I'll create a folder for my project. So let me save it in this directory. Okay, so to create a folder, once you open your VS Code, this is what you see. We don't have anything on it. This is what you see. So you can either click on this open folder here, or you click on file, you see open folder. So when you click on the open folder, it will take you to your file explorer, and then you locate where your folder is, the folder you want to use. So I will try and save inside the web class folder, then create another folder specifically for this training. So I will just call that Introduction to Bootstrap. Okay. Then click on the folder and then select. All right, so that folder is open on my VS Code. So what I'll do, the first step, remember, is to structure your folder very well, and you know how to put up a folder structure. So first of all, I'll create a folder using this add folder icon here. Then I'll create my JS folder, since I'll be adding the Bootstrap JavaScript to my project. So I'll need a JavaScript folder. I can just call this script. Okay. Then I'll also need my CSS folder. So I'll just call this CSS. Then I'll need my index folder, index file rather, index.html file. Okay. Then I also need images, since I'll be using images on that, on my project. So I'll need images folder. Okay, so basically this is what we need for now. Right. Okay, so before I add my Bootstrap, I will need to create the HTML structure, which is this. So when you just hold your shift and then press 1, you have this, and then you press enter, the structure will come up. Then for my title, I will choose to rename it to Introduction to Bootstrap. Yeah. All right. So that is it. Let me go back to my Bootstrap folder where I downloaded and extracted the folder. So this is the Bootstrap folder. So what I will do after extracting that Bootstrap, I'll just open it and then go to CSS, open CSS, and then copy this bootstrap.min.css. So just copy that. That is what you need for CSS, for your styling. So go to your folder, project folder. Okay, let me open this. So my project folder is in desktop, web class, and then I have introduction to Bootstrap. Okay, so this is it. And then I'll open my CSS folder and then just paste the CSS in there. Then I'll go back to my extracted file and then go back to my JavaScript. Open the JavaScript folder and also copy the bootstrap.min.js to have the minified JavaScript, so that your project will not be loaded up with much stuff. Okay, so I will equally go back to my working folder, click on the way I created the script, and then just paste my JavaScript there. Okay. All right, so if I open here on my CSS, I will see that, yeah, I'll see the Bootstrap. Then I'll also see the script I added to my script folder. Okay, so I also need a custom CSS file, which I'll be using to add some stuff which I need. But the thing is, when you are using a framework, you can either you will use less or no CSS at all. So what we'll be using most is the CSS, is the Bootstrap classes. So you really not need to use your own custom CSS. But for some things like your fonts, like your Google fonts, yeah, so you need to add you need to add it to your CSS. So we'll create the CSS file for it. And then for that CSS file, I'll just call it either custom.css, or let me use style since there's no style here, style.css. All right. So that will this will be where I'll be making all my changes to any CSS I add to the project. Yeah. Okay. So we will need to link that up to our HTML page. So what we'll do, just the normal way of linking your CSS, your style, yeah. The normal way of linking your style, you have this, and then in your href, you have to check back to where that is the location where you have the Bootstrap CSS, and then you also have your style. So first of all, I want to link my Bootstrap. So what I will do, since my index.html is in the root folder, so my file, my Bootstrap file is inside CSS. So I like using this // then I have my CSS, which is the folder that my Bootstrap is inside, and then I will just call my Bootstrap in there. Then I also attached my custom CSS, okay, which is the style.css. Then for the Bootstrap JavaScript goes to your body. So in your body, just after all your everything you need to do, you attach your script to it. So you use the script tag, okay, and then just the way you link your CSS, you locate this. The JavaScript is inside a script folder, so you have the script. I like using this folder, okay. And then you have your bootstrap.main.js. All right, so this is basically everything we need for now to get started with Bootstrap. So let's look at our design. Okay, so let's look at the design that we have. So this is our design. So let's work on the navigation bar. So let's work on the nav bar. So for the nav bar, we have the logo and the hamburger icon here. So we will just add that using Bootstrap. Then before then, you see that there's a space here, and there's a space at the right and the left corner of the screen. So we'll use, for that space, we'll use container, Bootstrap container, to add that space. So first you have okay, let me use a section for that. Sorry, I'll use nav since it's in navigation bar. So I'll use nav, and then I'll have my class container. Okay. Then for the logo, I'll use an anchor tag since it's going to be a link. Okay, so I'll just type in logo here. And then the hamburger. So for the icon, I said that Bootstrap has an icon that we can use. And to use that icon, you go to icons.getbootstrap.com. You see list of icons you can use. So let's look at that. Okay. Yeah, when you scroll down, you see list of icons you can use. So we'll just come here to search, and then search for a particular icon you want to use. In our case, it's hamburger. Hamburger, yeah. So you click on that icon, Okay, when you click on the icon, okay, when you click on the icon, you come to, you see where you have download SVG. You can either download the SVG or you copy the icon font and put it in your page, or you can copy the SVG directly from here and paste it in your code. So I'll prefer using this SVG. So I'll click on that and then go to my my page and then just paste the SVG there. Okay, so that works. Yeah. So when we reload this page, I'll open this page with live server. So we see what we have. Okay, so this is what we have now. Okay, so sorry, do we have any questions? Anybody confused? Isiolu?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'll go back to the video after the class.
Do you have any questions? Is there any way you're confused? I can always go back to it so that I'll carry everyone along.
I didn't get the beginning part of getting the Bootstrap itself, like how you went in, got the file you downloaded. That's why I said I don't want to draw the class back. I'll go back after the class. So let's just form. That's why I didn't ask.
Okay, let me just start from there. Okay, so for the Bootstrap, what you need is going to getbootstrap.com. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so let me just start. Open a new tab and then search for getbootstrap.com. Okay, so it opened this page. So what you do is click on Get Started on the screen. You can see the Get Started, right? So click on the Get Started, okay? And then you see Introduction and every other thing. So this just describes everything about Bootstrap, introduce you to Bootstrap and everything about Bootstrap. So what you do on the left corner of the screen, you see Get Started. You see some items on the left corner, Get Started, Introduction, Download, and every other content on it, right? Okay. So to use Bootstrap, just click on the Download. Okay. So when you click on the Download, you see compiled CSS and JavaScript, JS. JS stands for JavaScript. So you see compiled CSS and JavaScript. That is the one we are using. Then you just click on Download again. When you click on Download, I have it already, but I'll just click on it so you see. Then you see it's downloaded. So what you simply do is to go to your download folder in your computer, in your system. Oh, sorry about that. So you just go to your download folder in your system. Okay. Then you see the downloaded zip file folder, rather, Bootstrap zip folder. So extract it, you extract by right-clicking on it. When you click on that, right-click on it, then you see extract all. Click on that extract all. You'll be able to extract everything from that folder so that you'll be able to use. You cannot use the zip file. So we have to extract it and remove it from the zip so we can use the content in them. So after that, it just pop up the extracted folder for you. The Bootstrap 5.1.1. Okay. So when this pops up, you click on that particular extracted file, you see CSS, you see JS, which is JavaScript. So what you simply do, open the CSS folder, go to where you have bootstrap.min.css, okay? Copy it, click on it, copy it. Okay. Then go to your project folder. Sorry, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
I want to be sure everyone can see my screen. Okay. Oh, okay. So you go to your projects folder. My project folder is inside desktop. Okay. Then web class. I click on it. Then I have introduction to Bootstrap. That is my project folder. So inside my folder, I have the CSS folder I created for my project. I open the CSS folder and just paste the Bootstrap CSS I copied from the extracted Bootstrap folder. Okay. Then I do the same thing with the JavaScript. So let me put them side by side so you see. Okay. Okay. So this is my project folder now. Then I have CSS, I have images, I have scripts in my project folder. And this is the extracted folder. Okay, I have CSS, I have JavaScript. So what I'll do, open the CSS, copy what you have, the bootstrap.min.css, and put inside your CSS folder. Then I've done that already. So I'll copy what I have in my Bootstrap JavaScript, copy the bootstrap.min.js, then put it inside my script folder. Okay, that is what I have here. Right. And that is just it. Then in your HTML, what you need those files that you copied. So you link them up, just like you link your normal style. So you link the Bootstrap CSS and then you also link the JavaScript, Bootstrap also. Then if you have any custom CSS, that is the CSS you're going to do on your own. Apart from the Bootstrap CSS, you can also link it after the Bootstrap. Okay, take note after the Bootstrap. If you put it on top, it will override. The Bootstrap class will override your own. Okay, so I believe you understand now.
Yes, thank you very
Are you
much.
still confused?
No, not now.
Okay. Does any other person have a question? All right, so we just move on. Okay, so we are trying to make the nav bar looks like a Bootstrap nav actually. So what we'll do, we'll click on the component nav bar. Okay, so I can just copy it. I could just copy it. I don't need all of them. So I'll just take this a particular class. I'll take this navbar, then go my HTML, and then just paste it here. So let's see what we have. All right, so this thing has moved to position. Then for the logo, we still need to make it we have here. So what we'll do is someone Sophia raises, you raise your hand. Okay, it's down.
Yes, I actually raised it.
For,
Good morning.
All right, good morning. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I did not get what you just did now, how you separated the hamburger from the logo.
Okay, there is a class in Bootstrap called navbar. Okay, so this is so your is a nav arrange horizontal arrange. Okay. Navbar class, and then going to my page and then just paste it on my nav section. Okay. I want to style this logo here. So I'll just have my class fine here. So the font is bigger than what I have here. So I have to increase the font, not the same. So I also have to change the color of my logo. So let's see how Bootstrap does that. So you can, if you do not know a particular class you are using, you can always say, so let me say look size, font size. Okay, so let me just, okay, so we have list of options to choose from. So I'm looking for font size, so I'll just click on the font size. Okay, I have text wrapping overflow. That is not what we need. So yeah, this is what we need. So this is font size. So let's see how we use this. They have fs -1. So this is what you're going to use, fs -1 or fs -2, depending on the size you need or you need for that particular project. So for our project, I'll use fs -1, fs-1. So I'll just put it here. Okay. Then for the color, let's see if that works. Okay, it increases the logo. Then for the color, I will equally search for text color or color rather. Let me just search for color. Okay, so you have colors. So click on color and then wow. You can, sorry, this is for search, so this is not what we need. Search for color. Yeah, so this is what we need. So Bootstrap has different colors that we can choose from. It has the color palette like the one I opened earlier. And then for this one, it's just the text color that you can use. So for this, we'll be using this link color. Okay. Okay, so this link color will give us this underlined under it, but that is not what we actually want. So I want us to see the color ourselves, so it not be like doing things and you don't understand. So I want you to see how to search and be able to go through this documentation. Okay, so yeah, these are the colors, and this is close to what we have there. This text secondary is close to what we have. So let's see how to use any of these colors. Then we also have text success, text primary, text secondary, text success, text danger, and so on, text warning, and the rest of them. So these are the colors we can choose from. So for our own, I think text secondary is close to what we have here on this logo. So we will just go straight to where we have how to apply text secondary. Just copy the text secondary, or if you can type really fast, you can just come here and type text secondary. And be sure that what you have in your, if you are typing, what you have in your HTML is what Bootstrap has, okay? Right, so when we reload this, we'll have, okay, so the color has changed, but we need to remove this underline under it. What we can do is using a class called text decoration. None. All right, so the class is gone. If you are searching, you can also search for that text decoration, you'll see it. So because of time, let's just move on. Okay, so I will like to increase the size of my toggle icon here. So let me go to my style, my HTML rather, and then increase the size of my toggle icon. I'll use 50 pixels for this since it's SVG. So I'll just use 50 pixels to increase the icon. This should work. All right, so that works fine. Yeah. Okay, so now let's look at the hero section. Okay, so for this hero section, we have a background color. Okay, so for the background, background image. For the background image, Bootstrap doesn't have a predefined background image because it doesn't know what you'll be using. So we have to choose from our image. We need an image folder to choose from. So we need this image. I already have all the images I'll be working with. So I'll just go to where they are. Okay. So this is my folder. I'll just go to where they are and get those images. Okay. I think this is all of them. I'll just copy all of them and put them in my image folder. Yeah, so that is it. So for the hero section, if I open this now, if I open my VS Code, you see all the images I copied inside here. Okay. Yeah. So for the hero section, let's add this background color to it. Okay. So I'll just use let me have a section here. Then I'll give it a class with hero bg. Okay. Okay, so I'll just have this hero bg as a class. Okay. So this is where we're going to use our custom CSS to add the background color. Let's go to our custom CSS, that is the style.css. Then attach the class you have there. Then you attach the background image. Okay, so you use URL and then the name of the image. So our image is inside the images folder, while our custom CSS is inside a CSS folder. So what we need to do is to go out from this CSS folder. So using a two dots, you are actually going out of the particular folder that you are, and then going probably back to the root folder for that particular folder that you are. And then going out from there, you have image. So you're taking a step out from here. When you take a step out from here, you can access any other folder that is on this root folder. So we have images there, and then we'll just pick the hero image. Okay, so we have the hero image, hero dash region. Okay, so that's it. Okay, this is not working because it's a background image. So let's try and add. Let's add something to the image. So let's add the content on the text. The contents, yeah, the text on the image. So that is the house repair. Let me just copy this. Copy that. Then we'll create an H4 tag and then just paste. Then for the other services text, for the services text, I'll create another tag for it. Let me use H1 for that since it's bigger. And then for this, for the border, Bootstrap has a border class which we are going to use. Okay, but let's just see if our code. Okay, so this is it. But then we have this space before the text. So for that space, we'll still use container for consistency. So before we have the text, let's use our container here. That is the container class. And then I'll just put my text in there. Okay. So yeah, so we have this space here. All right, so we have this space here. Okay, so for the styling, we are going to style this with Bootstrap. Okay. But before then, let's remove every default margin or padding from our web page using the asterisk. Okay, I believe you are familiar with this. So we want to remove margin default, any default margin that the browser gave to any tag. So let's make it 0 and then padding 0 and probably remove excess width using box sizing for the box. Okay, that is fine. Okay. Let me remove I'll equally add this to the body and even to the HTML. Okay. All right, so we are good to go. Okay, so for the styling, let's use Bootstrap class to style this. So we have to change the color. So we have our class and then we have the Bootstrap class. Bootstrap class for color is text either text white, text secondary, depending on the color you want to use. So we already said that. You can always refer back to the documentation if you miss anything. Okay. So, we have this. Okay, so we have text white for a white text. Then we have this for any color text we want to use. So for the text white, we'll just get the text white class and attach it to our page. Okay, so we just add it to our CSS page. Then we'll do the same thing for this text white. Yeah. Then for the border class, we have, if you add border bottom, it will give you that line under, it will give you this line under the services text. So let's see if we have that line. Okay, it's not visible yet. Then for our image, to make it fill the page just the way it is here, we have to, this is full screen. So I'll use Bootstrap view height to make this thing full screen. So Bootstrap has this class called VH100. So that will go in here since this is where our background image is. So we'll have the VH100 in here. So let's see if that works. So yeah, it's filled the whole page, okay. But then we don't have these persons on it. So what we'll do, we just use our custom class to style it because Bootstrap does not have that particular function for it. So we'll use background position. We use background position of 50% top and bottom, and then 0% left and right. Okay. Then we also use background size cover so that it will just fill the whole page. Background size cover, and then we'll use background repeats so that any excess, the image will not be repeated even when it is not as large as the screen size. Okay, so we'll have background repeats, no repeats. Okay, so let's reload and see what we have. All right, so our image is coming up really nice. But then our text is not coming up the way it is. So let's see how to style that with Bootstrap. So in Bootstrap, we have another class called, we have a class called core. Sorry about that. So let's go back to our page. Okay. So we are here. Let's wrap this whole H4 and H1 inside a div tag so that we'll be able to style it well and then just leave the container the way it is. Okay. I'll just wrap it inside this div tag. Then I'll give this div a class of core. Okay, let me give it padding top first to move it from top a little bit, and then I'll give it text is already white, so I'll just give it a core class of 6. So this in Bootstrap, there is this row and column that if that you can use for your grid view. So for this particular one, I will be using a columns. This called MD6 has to do with the medium screen size. So anywhere you see MD in Bootstrap, it stands for a medium screen size. And then when you see LG, it stands for a large screen size. Okay. So for this core MD6, the core has the 6 is divided into 50%. So a particular row has 100% in it. So each of those rows are divided, each of a complete row is 12. Okay, so any row is like divided by the 100. Okay, so for this 6, you have since it's 12, so 2 rows divided by 12, you have 6. Okay, all right. So since it's the 12 is 100, you just divide the 100 by the 2, and then you have each of them 6s. We'll actually go into details on that in this training actually. So we'll see how that works. So for now, I'll just use this for MD6 to actually make the text shorter the way it is here. So you see that it's not filling the whole screen, but our own is like filling the whole screen. Okay. So we'll just use it to make it shorter. Okay. All right. So this is for a medium screen. Then for a larger screen, I will still use the 50% width. I don't want to use width 50% here so that it will not affect the responsiveness. So for the large screen, I will equally use LG for large screen and then just add 6. I will have that 50% I want. Then by default, if you do not specify any screen size, that means by default it's responsive. So if you do not use like core 12 here, that is the full width of the screen, it's just Bootstrap assume that, or your page assume that this is 100% full. So you can specify using core, which is for the smaller screen, or you just point to the direct screen that you want to use it for, which could be MD or LG. Okay, you might not fully understand this now, but as we go on, you will understand it better. Right. So let's see if that works. Okay, so this is coming up. Okay, so let's centralize our text by using text center. Okay. All right, this is working fine. Then for the border, we will need to increase our border size. So we'll use in Bootstrap, there's a class called border, then the number of size you want. So if you go to documentation and check border width, it's already coming out. So when you click on it, it shows you the width you can use. You see border 0, that is any border with no borders. You can actually remove a border from any of your content. And then, this is what we are looking for, border width. So depends on the size of the width you want, you can choose from here. So you have either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to choose from. So I'll pick the last one, which is 5, because one is very large, very big. All right. So yeah, so that's work. And then the color is actually white. So we'll use Bootstrap class also to change the color. Okay. So border has its own color, which is, if we use border white, that will actually change the color for you. Yes, okay, so yeah, this is one of the what I was looking for. So here you can use, select from here, pick the color, the border color you want, and then use it on your project. Yeah. All right, so that works for you. So let's give our services some padding so that it will move a little bit away from the border. Let's use 2. So for the padding, I use PB. PB stands for padding bottom. So for padding, you can, if you use just P and then the number of the padding you want, you can choose from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you use P and then you do not specify whether top, bottom, left, or right, it will just have that padding added to the 4 corners, that is the top, bottom, left, right. Okay, so just using P here works for top, bottom, left, right. Then you can either specify which area you want, either for the bottom or for the top or for the start or for the end, which is left and right. Okay, so this should work. Yeah. Guess we have more padding, so I'll have to increase this. All right. Okay, so yeah, the next section we'll be going into is this painting electrical and repair icons and the text on it. And then, okay, so this is where we use Bootstrap Grid, the rows and the columns I was trying to talk about. So for Bootstrap Grid, you have 8 columns for each of the rows, okay? And 8 columns for each of the rows. So if we are having 3 items on a particular row, you have to divide that 3 items by 12. Okay. So that means each of them will now have 4 columns each. Okay. So let's try it out. So you have a div here. Then for the grid view, you need your row, that is a Bootstrap class, to specify that this is actually a grid view. So you need this row. Then inside the row, for each of the items, that is for, sorry about that. For each of the items, that is for this first item, the painting, the second item, which is electrical, and the third item, which is repair. All of them will be inside another div. Inside another div with a row, with the columns. Okay, so inside another div, we'll create, inside the row div, we'll create another div, and then we'll have our columns class. So we have for, if we use call, okay, let's say call 4 here, and then we have the text, painting. Let's use H4 for that part, for that section. H4. Then we have painting. Okay. So We'll also need another columns for the other columns. So we will still have core. We'll still have core 4 since they are equal. Then we'll have H4 for electricity. Then we'll have the last columns, which is core 4 also, since they are equal, and we'll have H4. We'll have repay. Yeah, we have repay. Okay, so let's see what we have here. All right, okay, so this is what we have here. But then I want everything to be on the same section with the house. So I'll just move. I'll move this in here. Okay. Okay. So let's be sure our indentation is fine. Okay. So let's see. All right. So everything is on the same line. Yeah. Okay. So for the call, this is actually for a small, for all screen sizes actually. It works for the small screen size, it works for larger screen size, and it works for any screen size at all. So if you want to specify a particular screen size you want to target, you can use the core MD for either medium size, core LG for a larger screen size. We have tablets, we have desktop, we have laptops. So laptops falls under LG, which is a larger screen size. Then we have extra large in Bootstrap. So extra large, that could be like the bigger screen computer. Then for the medium could be like a pad, or yeah, something of that sort. So for this to work for just medium and larger screen, we'll need to specify the medium screen here. So I'll use core MD6, 4 rather. So it's actually 3 on the row. Then I'll equally specify for large screen 4. Then I'll also, okay, I'll leave that. Then I'll have the same for all of them. So this is what we have now. Then for the icons, let's try and add these icons to it. For the icons, I already have some images on my image folder, which I can use for the icons. So I'll just add my image tag here for the icon. Then, okay, let me just use the shortcut. Okay, so for the first one is fence brush. So I'll go into my image folder, then I have it as paintbrush.svg. So that is the first icons for on that particular section. Then for this one, I will also need the image here. So I'll have images slash that is for electricity. So I have the electric image, electric.svg image. Then I have the last one, which is the last one is repair. So I'll still go into my image folder and then I can give it a name in case it's not showing up. Painting. This is electricity. This is repair. Okay, so this, let's see if this works. Okay. All right, so this is not. Okay, so this is what we have, but it's not actually the same image, so we have to look for that same image. Okay. So let me see what I used for the images. I think I have this as some painting. Sorry, let me inspect and see what I use for this image. Okay, this is cleaning brush. This is this is tab. Okay. All right, so that works. So do we have any question on this particular section before I move on? Does anyone have a question? Okay, Best, your hand is up, unmute and speak up.
Good morning.
Good
I
morning.
tried getting those icons. I could not get it. So where did you get yours?
You pay for it though. Oh, I can actually share the icons with you after the class. I got it from
Thank
the
you.
website actually. So do we have any question concerning the rows and the columns on Bootstrap? All right, Chidiogo, unmute yourself and then speak.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Sorry, honestly, I do not understand how you align it with Bootstrap. I don't know, maybe because I entered late or what. Did you put do instructions on Bootstrap? Because the whole thing is confusing me. How you're coming up with 12 divided by 3, 4, MD. I'm not even understanding.
Okay. All right, okay, so let me take it from there. Here is the Bootstrap documentation. So in the documentation, we have a grid view for Bootstrap, okay? So instead of using your normal flex, you can easily come to Bootstrap and then get the grid view for Bootstrap, okay? So for this grid view, the so where I clicked on, I go to layout, then click on grid. Okay, so you have this. So a normal grid has 12 columns. Okay, so like this, we have 1, 2 columns, 3 columns, up to 12. Okay, you understand?
Yes.
Let me just
Go ahead.
let me just click on the columns so we see. Okay, so let me start from here. Okay, so a normal grid, a full grid has 12 columns rather. So each of the columns has one columns each. Each of the columns has one columns each. So depending on what you want to achieve or how you want your columns to look like, you can either use 4, 1, 2, okay? So the smallest is 1, and then followed by 2, 3 till 5. So the full width is 12 columns. So to use it on your HTML page, just the way I used on my page, to use it this way on your page, you go to your grid view, then Bootstrap is actually instructing you on how to use it, okay? So you can have your container if you choose to, but it's cool, you have your container first. Then you add the row. The row will give you that horizontal view, okay? Okay, so for each of them, after you've had a row, a div with a row on it, for each of the columns, you have to create another div for it, a div tag. And then inside the div tag, you have a class with the columns. Okay. Then for them, you can either specify how many columns you want on a particular column. Do you understand that?
How many columns I want in a particular column?
Yes.
But you said earlier
Either
that each
one.
column contains one column.
I said a full row contains 12 columns.
12, yes. But you
Yes.
said each column contains one.
So each has one. You can either use one. If you are using a full width, that means one column will be 12. If what you have, okay, let me use this and explain that. What I have here is 3 items, okay? And I want these 3 items to fill a particular row, one row.
Yeah.
Do you get? Okay. So I will divide these 3 items by 12. So each of them will now have
divide
4.
the 3 items 12.
By 12, that is 4.
Or you divide the grid 12 columns by 3. Which one? I'm now confused.
You divide 12 by 3. Sorry, that's my mistake. So you get it now. So you divide 3 by 12. So each of them will have 4 columns each.
Okay.
You get it now. Okay. So another thing is that for the columns, if you just use call the way it is, so any screen that has this call and then the number of the call, like what I use here, I use call 4. I also use call 4, call 4. So all the screen will have this call 4. Okay. Okay. But if you want to specify a particular screen you want to use these columns for, if you want to use maybe for a smaller screen, you want to use the full width, which is column 12, you can just add here call 12. That is for a smaller width, or just specify SM for small. Do you get? Then for a medium screen could be like an iPad, or something as big as that or bigger than that. Then you can specify the number of columns you want to use on a particular row, okay? Right. So for my medium screen, I want to use 4 on my medium screen. So this 4 now on the screen will now be 3. Hope I'm not confusing you.
Honestly, I managed to understand the grid 12 and all that. Now you don't enter screen. I don't even understand. Maybe if I want to beat it again, I will, but right now I don't.
Why we are using Bootstrap is to make our work responsive on all screen sizes, okay? So for each of the classes that we have in Bootstrap, we can set a screen size for, we can set the classes for each screen size, okay? Okay, so the first, when I said the call, each for all screen size, it has 12 columns. Then you can also say that for this particular screen, I want just 2 columns for a particular row. Then for another screen size, I want 3 columns for a particular row. For another screen size, I want 4 columns for a particular row. You get? Okay. So this is where your MD or LG or SM comes in. Do you get?
LD, that's large
LG is for large screen.
screen.
MD is for medium screen.
Medium.
SM is for small screen.
No, does each of them has standard number of columns, like large screen, standard number of columns, medium screen?
All of them has 12.
Okay, oh, each of them still
That
have
is the
12.
max, in
Wow.
Bootstrap, that is the max number of columns you can get. So on a smaller screen, you can have it full, which is 12, okay? Then on a medium screen, you can have 3. So when you divide 12 by 3, you have 4. So in your code, you're going to use called MD4 for medium. Then if you still need 3 items on a row, you on a large screen, then you have for LG4 for the larger screen. So that will give you 3 items on a particular row. And that is why we have these 3 items here.
Okay, Ella. Sorry. Okay, promise. Thank you.
Welcome. Does anyone have question regarding row? Or is there anyone that is still confused? Jogo, your hand is still up. Please bring your hand down. Okay. So we can continue, but before then, let's see our responsiveness. Let's see how our page looks on different screen sizes. Okay. So what I'll do is to right-click on my page, then go to inspect. When you go to inspect, you click on this icon, this toggle device toolbar. When you click on that icon that looks like a screen, a mobile phone, it will show you this layout. So this is what you use to determine screen sizes for each devices. So you see this mobile S, then the size actually, you see the responsiveness, then the size. So these are all the breakpoints or the screen sizes you have. Then when you click on this one, you see it expands. Click on this one, you see it increases and so on. So what I want here is not, I want all these images to be hidden on mobile. Okay. I want these paint icons, the contents and the icons to be hidden on mobile. I don't want it to show when you're using your phone. So there is Bootstrap class for that. And the class is, let's look at the class in Bootstrap. You can also search for it, display none. Let's see if we'll find that. So we can search for display on Bootstrap. So let's click on this typography. Yeah. No, this is not what we need. So display. Oh, sorry about that. This one. Okay, so yeah, we have it here under utility. Okay. Okay, yeah. So we have all the display classes on different screens. So when you have D none, that is on all the screen sizes, it will actually hide that particular item. Then hidden only on XS, that is extra small screen, you just have this, you add this to it, okay, and the rest of them. So for our own now, we want to hide the this particular section on mobile. So what the class I will use is display none. Okay, so this display none hides this particular section both on mobile, larger screen, and every other screen. Okay. Then to display on mobile, I will use the display MD. I'll use block. Okay, let me use. Sorry, let me not use that here because it's going to affect the rule. So let me use it here. So D none, and then on large screen, I want to display it on large screen. So I will have D block. Then I also want to display it on medium screen. So I will have D block, MD block for medium screen. Okay. So I'll do the same thing for all of them. I'll just copy and paste my classes here. So when I reload my page, yeah, it's gone. Then on the large screen, let's see what we have on the large screen. Okay, so we still have our content back. Then on a medium screen, on on a medium screen, then on a smaller screen, you don't have it. So this is like your phone size. So you will not see that displayed on your mobile. Okay. For different screen sizes using Bootstrap. So let's try and make this look a little more like what we have on our template. We'll change the color for the text. So we'll use, we'll have a class, and then we'll have the text white color. Remember the text white color to change the text. And then we also have it for this one, text white. Then I have it for this to text white, just to change the text. Okay. Then I'll also need padding between the text and the image. So let me give the image a class and change and then give it padding so that we'll have padding between the text and the image. Okay, so I'll just select, I hold my Alt and then select all the images I want to add the class to. So for the 3 images, just hold my Alt and then click on the particular place I want to add it to. Then I'll have my class here. Okay, so I'll use padding. I'll use PY. So PY is actually padding top and bottom in Bootstrap. So if you're using PY, it will only affect the top and bottom part of your page, part of your code. Yeah. Then let me use 3 here. Let's see if that works the way we want. Nope. It did not actually work the way we want. Okay, so let's see why it did not work the way we want. Oops, sorry, I did not. That is not the right place I wanted to use it. I wanted to use it inside the images here. So let me select, I did not select the image. Let me select the images. Okay. So I'll add that class to the image and have py3, yes. Okay, so that works fine. Yeah, so we have the same thing here. Okay, so the next section we'll be looking at is this section. Okay. Before I move on, does anyone have question concerning this hero section? Okay, I'll continue then. All right, so this is the section we want to achieve now. So for this section, I will create another section. So this section is for the hero section. Then this is another section for the how our service section. Okay. Then for the our services, I will need H4. Then I will also need to wrap it inside the container. Let me use container all through. Even though it will be text-centered, but I need to use for consistency. Okay. Then for the our services, I'll use an H4 tag, H4, then just type as services. Then this will be H2. Then we have, let me just copy this. And then the other one is a paragraph. I will just copy the paragraph and paste. Okay. Then we have this button also. So let me add the button before we use Bootstrap to style the button. Okay. So I have button. My button is book now. Let's see what we have. Okay, so this is what we have. Well, it doesn't look like what is here. So we'll use Bootstrap to style. First of all, we'll style this section as services. So let's style that section using Bootstrap class. First, we'll change the color to text secondary to have that red color. Text secondary. You can check out Bootstrap colors if you do not know this offhand. You can always go back to Google and then check the Bootstrap color on the documentation. Then we need to change that to uppercase. It's on uppercase. I need to change that using text uppercase. Okay. Then another thing we'll need to do is increasing or reducing the font size. I will use FS. FS is for font size in version 5 of Bootstrap. So FS 6 is what I will be using here. Then for this one, I'll also have a class for this one. Then the text color for this is okay. But for the font size, we'll use FS1 for the font size. Okay, you can use that. Then I'll have to centralize this text by using text center. Okay, so this is it. Then for the button, okay, before the button, let's give it a little spacing top and bottom using padding. So for Bootstrap padding, we have, I want to give it space top and bottom. So I'll use the PY5 to give that space top and bottom. All right, so we have that space. Then let me style the button. For button, we have a class called BTN for button. You can check out Bootstrap button classes on the documentation. You come here, you just check for BTN for buttons. Okay, so these are the buttons we have in Bootstrap. We have the primary, we have secondary, we have success, and we have all of this. So the one we're going to use for this is danger. So I'll just add this danger class to it so that we'll have the color. So first of all, you need to make it have the Bootstrap styling using BTN. That is BTN class. Then to specify the color, you use one of the colors you want, which is BTN, either primary, but in this case, we're going to use danger. Okay. All right, so that's that works. Then I feel I should give it padding to the right and left. So I'll use PX. PX is for padding right and left. So I'll use PX4 for this button. Okay, so I think this is coming out well. Then let me break this my paragraph. All right, this is okay. So we are done with that section. Then for this section, we'll also use Bootstrap Grid. And like I said, Bootstrap Grid has the highest number of columns of 12, but this is 2 columns. So we're going to divide 12 by 2 to have this. So each of these columns will have 6 since they are equal columns. Each of these will have 6. First one will have 6, the second one will have 6. So let's create that section. We have that section here. So we need a row. So a row first, and then for the spacing, let's also give it container. Okay. Then for the columns, we'll give, for the first columns, we'll have a class of dot called 6. Okay. Then also you also have a class to image first to image folder. Then we have the name of the image. Look through the images I have here. So I'll just copy the name of this image. Then for the text, paragraph tag for the text. And let me copy it. So let's okay, so this is what we have. Yeah. For the other columns for it. But then before then, let's set the screen sizes for this. Size the a smaller screen size. I use my SM here for smaller. Then screen, I want it to be 6, so I'll use my core MD for I'll use core HG6 also. And then you can equally set your own according to how you want. So for the next one, it's just the same column. So let me. So what we have there is the text before the image. Let me have H4 for that section. Then the next one will be the next one will also be H4. Then to change the color for this the code, the number, to have this color has to change the color for a Bootstrap using Bootstrap class. You have text text, then the name of the color in Bootstrap that you want to change. In our case, is then it's like the red color in Bootstrap. Okay. So when this and the image also, let's add the image tag, then the name of the image you want to use. Okay, so this is the image. Okay. All right, so there is a little problem. The problem we are having here now is that the image is larger than the size. So we have to use Bootstrap class to resize that image so that it looks nice on the screen. So there is a class called img fluid in Bootstrap. That is what we're going to use to resize the image. So the class has a width of 100% and a height of 2. Okay, so let's add the image fluid class to our images. img fluid. So we should have it right now. All right, so this is it. This is exactly what we have. Okay. Then for the padding, we can add py5 to give it that padding on top. Okay. Okay, I want to pause here and then take questions from anybody that have questions. So if you have questions, you just raise your hand and then I'll call you to ask your question. So far, do you have any questions to ask? All right, Sophia, unmute and then ask your question.
Okay, so hi, Promise.
Hi.
It's not really a question. I was just going to say if there is like okay, I know that you already told us how to get the documentation, but we don't even, okay, let me speak for me. I don't know everything I should look out for. Most of the things I know now are the things that you have used to work on this project. So I don't know if you can give us like, maybe drop something for us to know what to focus on when we want to. Maybe say for color, this is it. For text, this is it. I don't know if you get.
Okay, yeah, I get your question, but you know your CSS properties very well, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, very good. Okay, so when you notice, when I was searching for a particular Bootstrap class, I used what you are familiar with, that is CSS property. Like the color, I actually search for color. Okay.
Okay.
And then selected, you can select any of these. So when you select any of these, it will give you Bootstrap colors. So these are all the Bootstrap colors that we have in this documentation. And then it also show you how to use it. Okay. Then
Okay.
if you are looking, that is for color. If you are looking for maybe text transform, that is text, text transform is for changing from either lowercase to uppercase and so on.
Yeah.
Okay, so what you just do is come here and then type the text transform and then you search. And then I will also advise, okay, so let's see the text transform. Yeah, this is the text transform. So when you search, there is no way you will not find what you're looking for. Okay, then you also have to study this documentation as well. It will not just, you will not just understand it within a day. You have to go through it, use it, practice it, and then you get used to it. Then you even start knowing some of those classes offhand without even going to the documentation. Okay. So this is everything we have. You can come here from the get started and then start looking at everything inside the get started and see how you can get used to everything here. We have the customized, we have under customized, we have overview. This one might not concern you now, but you can still look up to it. People that understand SAS will know how to use this very well. Then we have the layouts. Under the layouts, we have breakpoints, which we talked about. The breakpoint has to do with your media queries. You can look at Bootstrap breakpoints, the way they structure their media queries. Okay, just click on it and it will open. Then for containers like the one I use, you can also come here and search for it. So the basic thing here is just getting familiar with this documentation and then you are good to go. Or you search for anything that you want. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
You're welcome. And Chidioku, your hand is up too.
I wanted to know, because you use image fluid, although somebody said in the session is the standard, I wanted to know if that's the standard image sizing, because you just used it and it fits in. Okay, what if you want it to be bigger? So once you use it, it just assumes the page. Like, that's what I'm asking.
Yes, it's actually resized to your page or to a particular section of your code. So it's like giving you that 100% width for the image. So whether the image is oversized, it will fit into the particular section you want to use it for.
But you
It's
didn't
just
use it
like
for the background.
That is for background image. I actually use background size cover. I actually set a background size for the background image. But for a normal image, but for the actual image, which is the image tag, instead of using width 100%, height auto, just use image fluid from Bootstrap.
Okay.
It will give you like the image with 100 height auto. That is what it does.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? We'll continue from here in our next class. So we'll see how to use Bootstrap for this other section and the remaining sections. So because of our time, we'll have to stop here. But if you have any question, you can raise your hand and then ask your question. But if there is none, then we'll stop here for today. So, Ike, over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Promise. So thank you guys for coming. And then let me just say this just to reiterate. So if you are in 2 tracks, okay, please, I urge you to start putting more attention on one. So for those of you who is on this call or who actually watch the video on YouTube later on, is if web development front end is what you actually have intention for, I would suggest you focus more on that. Any other thing, you're fine to follow up with the classes and do the task, but you will not submit. Please do not submit on 2 tracks. Focus on 1 track alone. Okay, so thank you very much, and I do have